Ma. How are you? Yeah, I just put it here in my might be Sabine.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear participants. Welcome to this session of Quran for Ramadan. Today we'll be looking at a passage from Surah Bani Israel, the 17th Surah of the Quran. So, this set of verses that we will be studying today and maybe for another couple of days as well is a series of verses that relate to our personal personality development and how we can become better individuals and how there are certain things that we must refrain from and what are some of the important things that we must adhere to. So, just going to share my screen with you regarding this passage that we're going to study today. As I said, this is Surah Bani Israel, the 17th Surah of the Quran, and the exact verses, of course, will be divided into various parts, and those parts, of course, would be uh, studied in one by one. Okay, so it starts off like this. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. لا تجعل مع الله إلها آخر فتقعد مذموما مخذولا وقضى ربك ألا تعبدوا إلا إياه وبالوالدين إحسانا إما يبلغن عندك الكبر أحدهما أو كلاهما فلا تقل لهما أف ولا تنهرهما وقل لهما قولا كريما واخفض لهما جناح الذل من الرحمة وقل رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا ربكم أعلم بما في نفوسكم إن تكونوا صالحين فإنه كان للأوابين غفورا. Listen, serve no other deity except God, lest on the day of judgment you are left blameworthy and helpless. Your Lord has enjoined you to worship none but Him, and to treat your parents very well. If either or both of them attain old age before you, show them no sign of impatience, nor scold them while answering back. Speak to them with respect and with softness lower arms of tenderness on them, and keeps praying, Lord, be merciful to them the way they nursed me with love and tenderness in childhood. People, your Lord fully knows what is in your hearts. If you remain obedient, He is very forgiving to those who turn to Him. So, as I said, dear viewers, this is a set of verses that we will be studying in the next few sessions as well. It starts off with verse 22, and the very first directive, which is normally the case whenever moral directives are brought up in the Quran, is that we should serve no other deity but God, and that we have been enjoined to worship just Him. So remember, the Quran was being revealed in an environment in which polytheism was the call of the day. It was something to which people adhered to in their daily lives, and it was something that they had inherited from their forefathers, and it was as if it had become a routine. So the Quran continued to caution and prod them and make them realize, and it gave them various examples from their own intuition from the world around them that the God that they regard to have partners, this is an absolutely baseless notion. If he had partners, he would have been the first person to inform us. And since this has not been the case, and this will never be the case, so people, if they ascribe partners to him, then they are actually imputing falsehood to him. And in the words of the Quran, this is called iftaral Allah, which means that you ascribe something which is baseless to God. And precisely for this reason, the Almighty says that He is not going to forgive polytheism if it is deliberately done and a person does not repent from it, because this is a sin for which a person has absolutely no basis. I mean, God would have been the first and the foremost to inform people that He has partners. And since this is not the case, so what information do people have when they do so? Today, viewers, obviously, we live in a monotheistic environment, mostly, especially in the background of Abrahamic religions. Yes, we still have Hinduism and we still have certain other religions that border on shirk and polytheism, but in the presence of a large community of Abrahamic faiths, you will see that literally polytheism has been rooted out. but then it is still found in its subtle forms. For example, in Christianity, it is something which is found in quite in a blatant way when they regard Jesus to be the Son of God. But you'll see that this is also the case amongst Muslims. So they would ascribe to one God, they would worship one God, but then they would go to the mausoleums and shrines of other saints and ask for help. And this is something which is, of course, very, very strongly condemned by God, that you just cannot do something which has not been sanctioned by Him. God says that you have to directly ask from me. And when you create partners and when you think that He has certain favorites or favored ones with Him, then this is something which has absolutely no basis. So today also, viewers, we have to be extremely cautious that, and this is especially the case when we are pushed, when we at times are passing through testing circumstances, that we tend to get a little detract, and instead of just relying on God and just asking for His help, we knock at the doors of other people or other saints, I would say, or we use means which are absolutely not in any way corroborated by religion. So we have to be extra careful that monotheism and Tawheed, something which is the foundation, it is the pillar on which religion stands, Abrahamic faith stands. It's something that must also and must always be kept and relished and cherished in our homes. The very next thing which is mentioned, viewers, as is the case with the Quran, that whenever the rights of God are mentioned, a very, very common feature is that the rights of the parents are also mentioned right after that. So, hence, we see that the very next words are وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, that treat your parents with kindness. Don't be rude to them. Don't be in any way be impudent to them. So the words are وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا إِمَّا يَبْلُغَنَّ عِنْدَكَ الْكِبَرَ أَحَدُهُمَا أَوْ كِلَاهُمَا فَلَا تَقُل لَّهُمَا أُفٍّ وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا وَقُل لَّهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. If either or both of them attain old age before you, show them no signs of impatience. So that is what is said. That لا تقل لهما أف, don't be impatient with them. لا تنهرهما, and do not scold them. وقل لهما قولا كريما, and I'll always answer them and speak to them in a gentle way, in a gracious way. So, viewers, what is mentioned here in this verse 23 is something that needs a lot of attention and care. First of all, the word uff has been often wrongly understood and translated, primarily because this word is also used in the Urdu language but with a different meaning. So, in the Arabic language, it means to scold someone or to show impatience. I mean, if you just are impudent and you are disrespectful, so that would be something for which the word uff is used. However, in the Urdu language, the word uff is also used to, in fact, it's primarily used to say that you just cannot disobey someone. So remember, this is not what the Quran has said, and this is not what it is saying. But we see that it is this verse which is used by parents and which has been misinterpreted by a lot of people, and they think that we just cannot in any way disobey parents and we just cannot say uff before them. So remember, the uff that is mentioned here is the Arabic uff and not the Urdu one. In Arabic, as I said, the word uff doesn't mean in any way that we can be disobedient or to them. Yes, we can differ with them, which means that we can have our own opinion. The only thing is that this should be done in a polite way, in a gentle way, and it should not be something that creates a scene. So the thing which is primarily mentioned here is that when parents reach old age in front of us, so all of us know who have parents who have reached old age, that they at times they become cranky, at times they become impatient, at times they repeat a lot of things, at times they demand certain things that is almost like the demands of a child. In fact, as we know that they start behaving like children as well. So it is here that we have been told that be patient with your elderly parents. So they were the ones who were patient when you were growing up in their laps. They did not show any impatience. They sacrificed their time, their energy, their life, and so many other things so that we could be comfortably groomed and raised in their laps. So now it's like the change of fortunes. It's a reversal of their own age, and now they have become and behave like children. So now you have to be extremely patient with them. You must not in any way talk back with them. You must not in any way uh, be rude to them or impudent to them. But having said all this, I just said earlier on that this does not mean the words "uff" does not hear the word "uff" does not mean that you cannot disobey your parents. Yes, of course. I mean, parents have to realize if children, especially if they are grown-up children, they have their own view about certain decisions in life, which includes choosing a life partner or maybe adopting a particular way of life, particular religion, particular worldview, a particular economic view, particular type of clothes, or anything, even a profession. So you can just choose anything, and all that parents can do and should do is to advise their children. They have to act as their well wishers. They can never ever think of dissociating themselves from their children, even if they think that they are taking a wrong decision. Remember, deciding something or taking a decision is the responsibility of the children themselves when they are grown up. And if even if parents think that they are taking a wrong decision, they must still support them. Because remember, uh, their responsibility is not to take decisions on the behalf of the children. Their responsibility is to support them in whatever decision that they take. And yes, of course, they can express their own disagreement. They can express their displeasure as well. They can tell them that the decision that might be are taking might be against the conventions of the society. It might be against religion. It might be against so many things. But that's all that it should do. Remember, we cannot police our children. We cannot impose ourselves on children. And because I see this happening so much in this world of ours, especially parents who have shifted to Western countries and their children have been born and raised there. It is they who, in particular, don't understand, and because the fact that they have been treated themselves in a way by their own parents that their parents used to dictate their lives, even uh, tell them even to follow them in small things as to what to wear and what to eat and at what time to sleep and when to get up. So this was their upbringing, and now they have no other clue or solution, and they think that they must use the same formula with their own children, which is of course not neither against, I mean, it's neither in consonance with common sense nor is it something which Islam condones. So religion actually gives every person the right to decide his or her fate regarding any major decision. And that could be a wrong decision, but remember, parents will not be responsible for the wrong decisions of their children. The children who are now grown up, they will be responsible. So parents must also learn to take a step back and to, as they say, that they must actually give their children, their adult children, the leverage, the latitude to decide their own life as they would. They need to step back and act as their supporters, act as their helpers, act as their well wishers, because this is the only responsibility that they have. If they become harsh, if they become unreasonable, then remember this will only expedite or it's only going to precipitate the dissociation of the children, emotional dissociation as well as physical, maybe one day, if they continue with this strict and this harsh, rather harsh attitude, I would say. So that is a lesson that we parents and all parents must learn in the light of this passage. And then, of course, the closing verse are also equally important, as it says, "وَخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ وَقُلْ رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا." And with softness lower arms of tenderness on them, and keep praying, "Lord, be merciful to them the way they nursed me with love and tenderness in childhood." This is one of the most beautiful prayers that we will come across in the Quran regarding parents. "Rabbi irhamhuma kama rabbayani saghira," that God be merciful to them the way they were merciful to us when we were growing up. And Rabbukum a'lamu bima fi nufusikum in takunu salihin fa innahu kana lil awwabina ghafura. Your Lord fully knows what is in your hearts, which means that if there is something that that might be bothering you, or maybe you're doing something which is not correct, but if you remain obedient, he is very forgiving to those who turn to him. So if there is anything amiss, if there's something has happened which should not have happened, but this is something that is in your hearts. So God is going to be, He's going to relent. He's going to forgive such behavior as long as the intention was not there to hurt your parents in any way. So remember, this is particularly true for elderly parents who are living in your homes. They need your emotional support, they need your time. It's not just money or these facilities that you provide them in the form of maids and maybe other comforts. It's more the time that you are able to spend with them, especially when they have grown old. And today, I think this is a stock taking that we should do. That every household which has elderly parents and every person who has elderly parents must once again make this commitment that I will spend time in the company of my mother or father as much as I can, and converse with them as normal children do. And in this regard, any small talk that you can do, of course, that's going to be helpful because all parents they welcome such banter, this light banter on the part of their children. So with this, we come to an end to this session on to this today's verse, and we will now be taking questions.
Dr. Salim, I can read the questions for the at least for the next 5 minutes, if that's okay. Can I do that?
Yes, please.
Can a wife give zakat to husband and adult boy? Husband has some saving but no job. Adult child is studying and out of work, has student loans as well. Thank you.
You see, anyone who is in need, regardless of that person's relationship, can be, I mean, zakat can be given to that person. He could be a father, he could be a mother, or, I mean, anyone, any person, even a wife or a husband. So if that person is in need and is not being able to make his or her two ends meet, then yes, that zakat can be given to that person.
Okay, another question in the chat. Can you please give some proof from Quran and Hadith that when the kids do wrong things, the sins don't come to the father?
I mean, I think the proof for this should be given by the person who thinks so, because we know that every adult child or every adult is responsible. Otherwise, how can we just transfer our burden to other people? And the Quran has said very clearly that "Alaysa lil insani illa ma sa'a." This is in Surah Najm, that a person will only reap in the hereafter what he himself sowed in this world. Whatever he would do is going to be something that's going to make him liable. So the children, of course, cannot be liable for their parents, and the parents cannot be liable for the children because both of them have been given an equal opportunity and the freedom of choice. Yes, the responsibility of the parents is that when they are growing up, the children are growing up, they should not be absentee parents, as is the case generally today. They should be there for them, they should try to groom them and mentor them, and that is all. So once they reach mature age, every person is accountable for his or her own self.
Okay, another question. Is there an age from which your sins are counted?
As soon as you become mentally mature and you have knowledge of right and wrong, you have an awareness of good and evil, that is the age. And of course, it cannot be quantified because it is different for different societies and different people.
Um, okay, another question. I don't know if it's a continuation. What about the father being a shepherd and being responsible? That end by adulthood?
So that is something that relates to their moral upkeep. That's kullukum ra'in an ra'iyatihi. That these are the words of the hadith, which says that every father or every person is like a shepherd to his family. So that relates more to the moral upkeep, responsibility that they have regarding their family. So that is what it talks about, and I think it's something which is very very obvious.
Okay, then Raza Sadat, please unmute your mic and ask your question.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saab. I have a
Right.
question regarding everything is happening with the will of God. So, what is the significance of Jadoo and Nazar Lagna? और in our society is ये एक बड़ा trump card होता है जिसको फेंक के डराते हैं. Can you put some light on it, please? Thank you.
So you see, this is not a true statement to state that everything is happening by the will of God. What the truth and more accurate statement is that everything is in the knowledge of God. Everything is in the knowledge of God. People have been given the freedom to choose what they would like to choose, and He at times interferes in this choice, in these choices, and at times He does not. So it's in His knowledge and the way He's running this world. Sometimes He interrupts our choices. He does not let them materialize, and at times He does not interfere. So that is how we should understand. As far as these parapsychological phenomena, I would say, or these occult disciplines are concerned. So they are, of course, disciplines in their own, and they don't have anything to do with religion. They should be looked outside of religion. As far as religion is concerned, it just tells you that anything that happens to you about which you don't have any logical explanation, you should not dismiss it by simply thinking that it's some unknown force that's grabbing you or gripping you. There are a lot of psychological ailments. There are a lot of other things that do happen. But yes, this does not preclude the fact that magic or evil eye is something that does not happen. That does happen. We know that the Jews tried to weave a spell of magic on Prophet Muhammad. They did not succeed. But yes, this is like a discipline. It's a occult discipline, occult science, in fact, which is called a hidden science that's still there. So the remedy, as far as religion is concerned, is that you just seek God's refuge. First of all, of course, if anything happens to you and you think that something is wrong, you must consult a doctor, because a lot of these ailments are psychiatric, psychological, and even biological. But if they are ruled out and you feel that there's still something that's bothering your mind and it's something in your head, then all that we can do is seek God's refuge by reciting regularly the last two surahs of the Quran. So, if you look at the words of these last two surahs, they give you protection. They seek refuge with God. You say, Auzu bi Rabbil Falak, Auzu bi Rabbin Nas, that God, I would like to seek refuge with you from the darkness or the harm that spreads in the darkness, or from the harms of people who blow on knots, of course, referring to these magical spells. So, yes, they do happen, but our only defense against such things is not to go to a peer or to some, I would say, amil, as they say, but to just become more close to God, and especially, as I said, recite these two surahs of the Quran.
Thank you, Dr. Saleem. Iraj, please unmute your mic and ask your question.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saab.
Walaikum salam.
So I have a couple of questions. The first question is regarding this dua for the parents, Rabbi Irhamhuma kama rabbayani saghira. Can we recite this dua for parents alive as well as who have passed away?
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, for Rabbar Hamhuma Kamara Bayani Sagira, basically, although it's primarily meant for parents who are living, but when you make this dua for parents who are deceased, it just is like a request that God, wherever they are, and now that they are in your custody and they're, of course, in the land of Barzakh, so be merciful to them, even when they have passed away. So that would be like an extension. But as I said, primarily this prayer is something that is meant for parents who are living.
Okay. My second question is regarding my mother-in-law. She's a dementia patient, and she has had dementia since the past 7 to 8 years now. Initially, she used to be able to offer her prayers and recite surahs and everything, but obviously, with the advancement of the disease, she's completely stopped offering her prayers, and I mean, she doesn't even recall many of the surahs. So, I mean, what is the take on such people? Does God just forgive them, obviously, because they're not in their right mental condition? And
Yes, I
because,
mean, this
you
is
know,
this is something which is the law of God, that until a person is aware of his or her surroundings and is mentally aware, he or she does not have any obligation towards God. So, I mean, that's a situation that we have to understand. If your mother-in-law is suffering from dementia or could be some other disease, that means that she's lost contact, in fact, with the outer surroundings, and she's not aware of her obligations. So, in such situations, she is not at all required to pray or to fast or to observe any religious rituals. I mean, yes, you have to care for her in a very polite way, I would say, as people, as children normally do, in a loving and a caring way. But that's all that we can do for them, and maybe give them the best of medical attention, and that's all. And not worry about their religious obligations, because they are no longer required to observe them.
okay. So another question I have, it actually came to my mind from the previous person who asked you questions regarding evil eye and magic. So I've read and heard in many places that to avoid these from affecting you, you should perform ruqya on yourself. What is your take on that, and what is the stance religiously regarding ruqya?
I mean, this is something which people have invented themselves. The ruqya that they have made, according to them, it is something that is like an antidote. We don't have any such ruqya directly coming down from the Prophet that we can, recite on such occasions. The biggest ruqya we have are the two surahs of the Quran, the last two surahs. They exactly act as a ruqya. So ruqya basically means to seek refuge of God and to in a way that anything that might harm you in any way is taken care of. So these two surahs are in the form of du'as. They are supplications. They are like invocations to God. Of course, reciting them does not mean that what is to happen might certainly be stopped or at all costs it will not happen. So this is our request to God that God please help me in this. At times God does help you, and at times He just does not interfere, which means that He has decided to put you in a test. And so if you suffer from certain scenarios that you are not exactly sure of, so just think that they are a test of God, and you just have to pass through them and bear yourself through them, and that's it. So remember, even these du'as themselves, they are not like a hotline to God, and they are not like they're going to definitely stop the thing that is going to happen. They are just requests to God, and all that we can do is to request God for such protection. And this is the same for all other melodies and ailments as well. So, I mean, a stray bullet can hit us, things can happen accidentally. So just as they can happen, and at every step we are asked to seek refuge from God, in a similar way, this should be like a lifelong motto that we keep on seeking refuge from God, because we don't know what other people are planning and how they are trying to bring us down.
Okay, thank you.
Salman, Aziz, sir, please ask your question.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam.
Sir, I asked a couple of days back, but I probably couldn't ask the question clearly. What I wanted was there was the ayat have somewhat meaning that we have made spouses for you,
Uh-huh.
from where you get satisfaction or mental peace. But seems to be a
I,
contradiction to that
I'm
hadith.
sorry, I'm not clearly able to hear you.
Okay, maybe I'll be writing it down. Okay.
Okay. Next we have
Next, iPhone.
okay.
iPhone.
Assalamu Dr. Saab. Yep. I'll keep it quick. Two
Yes.
questions. One very short. The dua that the lady asked for earlier that we say for parents. Um, a grammatical question on that. It says, please look after them as they brought me up when I was young. Is that like they brought me up when I was young, or because they brought me up I was young?
No,
That's
it's actually telling us that the way they brought me up, the way
yeah.
they were merciful, the way they were caring, the way they were selfless, the way they sacrificed, all these things are included. So when
Mm-hmm.
they were bringing me up, I was like a helpless person.
Yeah.
Now I feel this that they are helpless in this situation, and the roles have reversed. So God have mercy on them. So that is like it's like a comprehensive statement.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's a lot more meaningful. That's why I wanted to clarify that. My second question is this: if you're able to answer in time or not. There's something I read recently about in Western thinking about Solomon's paradox, where in Western thinking it's claimed that he was given immense wisdom by God to provide, to decide anything for anybody else, but that didn't apply to himself, and it didn't work. And that's how human nature is as well, where we give third party advice really well but don't take our advice so well. I just wonder, Islamically, maybe it's a historical question, may not be able to answer it, but Islamically, do we have any view of this? Because he was a prophet of God, so I find it hard to believe that his internal decision making would struggle so much.
No, you see, this is just a conjecture on the part of people. A
Mm.
person who is bestowed with wisdom can always err. He can err in his own matter. He can err in the matter of God, of other people if he's making a decision. This is like saying that a person who is a perfect judge, it's not that he is like a super judge all the time and he might make mistakes. The Prophet, peace be upon him, Prophet Muhammad himself said that at times you might narrate to me certain facts, and I might come up with the wrong decision because I'm a human being. Whatever decisions you bring before me, whatever facts and data you bring before me, I have to decide on that data. So, on a similar note, Prophet Solomon, or for that matter, any other prophet of God, of course, the wisdom that they are given, they are given this wisdom, but this wisdom is not flawless, and it can struggle for other people, it can struggle for themselves as well, they can make mistakes in this as well, because as I said, unless that matter is divinely driven, unless you are taking a decision in the light of some divine commandment, of course that would be infallible. But if you're doing it as a human being, then I mean, this is like something that can happen in any case to any person.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. No more questions.
Okay, so we don't have any more questions, so inshallah we'll reconvene tomorrow at the same time. Have a great day. Khuda Hafiz.